Welcome to Wildcat Sports Update. I'm your host, Jim Boyle, and today in studio we have senior captain Connor Sullivan of the basketball team, as well as his brother Nick, who is a Wilmington alumnus, graduated in 2021. So as we go around the room, we've got Connor and we've got Nick across from me over there. Why don't we introduce ourselves? We'll start with you, Connor. How long you played basketball, what positions you played, and how your season ended.
So I've been a four-year varsity player, and what was the other one?
You played position.
Oh, I played point guard, and I broke my leg in November.
Okay. And Nick?
My name is Nick Sullivan. I'm a Wilmington High School graduate of 2021. I currently serve as the junior varsity basketball coach at Masconomet High School.
Okay, and one of the things I brought the brothers in for today is Connor suffered a season-ending injury right before the season started, and I felt like it was good to get the perspective on how his perspective on the team, as well as his brother's perspective on how did it impact him and the family going forward, because they were really looking forward to a senior year. So I'm going to start off with you, Connor. Just your observations on the team in general for the year, from you observing before we talk about the injury.
Well, I honestly think they did a pretty good job. Like, losing like a star point guard, like, I know it can be like kind of tough, like with Ryan and Will, like, and Roman gaining a bigger role, like having to dribble the ball and, you know, shoot more shots, and the young guys stepping up, filling the shoes, playing some big minutes, and yeah, I think they did a pretty good job.
So Nick, as a coach, you can talk to me from a coach's perspective. What would it be like to lose your starting point guard right before the beginning of the season, especially somebody you were counting on?
Well, you know, if you watch the film from last year, Connor was kind of like the heart and soul of the team. You know, he was okay with not scoring points. He was okay with getting 10, 15 assists a game, and losing that person just to bring the ball up. You could see in a couple of games that they kind of struggled with that, but it was tough because, you know, he's also one of your leaders. He's also one of the kids that you look for and you rely on to, you know, be consistent. And just losing that, it's huge. It's vital.
Okay. And Connor, you were also elected captain. So what did you see your role as the captain of the team, and how did it change from pre-injury to post-injury?
So, like, not like me knowing I'm not seeing the core, I just try to be like a good role model for like the younger kids, always like helping them out, helping some of the captains like with what to do, like dribbling with the ball, and like trying not for them to like get turnovers and stuff like that, and trying to be like another coach, helping out like with coaches, like what I see on the court, and yeah.
Okay, so what did you stick with you, Connor? What were the goals for the team before the season, and what were your individual goals before you got hurt?
So I think our goal was to build off last year and come back stronger. Last year we had 12 wins. I thought we definitely had a big chance to get more than 12. And what was the other one?
Goals for yourself.
Oh, my goal, I wanted to have a shot to become like MVP or all league, stuff like that.
And I'm going to switch over to Nick. What did you think, or what was your expectation of how Connor would do? How would you, before he got hurt, what did you expect from him for the year?
I think one was definitely, I mean, last year he was a league all-star, so hopefully that past season he would have been all league, maybe league MVP. And another thing is just overall making like a tournament run. You know, last year they had a good chance of beating Linfield, but it didn't work out in their favor. And I feel like this whole entire offseason they're really prepping on making a deep tournament run. But
okay, so again, Nick, I'm going to go with you because it's tough to talk injuries with the guy who got injured. I know that it has been a rough, bumpy 4 years for Connor. He played baseball for me as a freshman. I thought he was a really good ball player. He should have stayed with me a little bit. But what roadblocks did he have? What were the injuries he had going for the 4 years?
You know, his freshman year, it was my second year coaching. I was an assistant coach at Wilmington, and his freshman year he got to play. He swung JV in freshman. In his sophomore year, I remember I was driving out with a couple friends in New York, and he gives me a call, and he's like, "Oh, I went to go block some kid, and I landed on his ankle." He's like, my foot's like the size of a baseball. So he broke his ankle his sophomore year, and he missed, I think, 15 games. So we only got to play the second half of the season with JV. And right before his junior year, he was sick, and we thought he had the flu. So we didn't take him to the doctors. We didn't take him to the hospital. And like a week and a half go by, and he's still sick. We were kind of confused about that. So we took him to the doctors, and he fainted in the waiting room, and he had pneumonia. And it was just it was gross because his lungs were so filled with fluid that he had to go do surgery and get like the fluid removed. And that was what, two weeks before the basketball season?
Tryouts, yeah.
Yeah, it was during tryouts. So, Coach Faraday kind of knew like what he had coming in with him, which was good, but it was tough to kind of be sick, be like really sick. He was in septic shock. And, 2 weeks later, he's playing against Winchester. And I think you guys played him pretty close. No? You didn't play him close? But
Winchester's always tough. I understand that, Nick.
Of course, still being an all-star, missing vital time in the season, tryouts, getting to learn the new coach's offense, everything along those lines, being sick, and then still being a league all-star, still being able to compete at a high level. And then his senior year, 2 weeks before, he broke his tibia and fibula, and it was heartbreaking, but it was good because the town of Wilmington they're really for basketball right now, which is really great to see. And I remember when it happened, we were working a basketball camp together, and a parent had heard about it, and he came up to me and he's like, "Listen, if you guys need anything, like let us know." And just he loved watching Connor play, and it was good to know that somebody had your back. But
that's an excellent recap of it. Connor, I'm going to you. Let's go through the three injuries and not the first two and how they impacted your playing time, and how did you overcome the pneumonia to become an all-league player?
So freshman year, I thought I had a pretty good season. Swinging JV and freshman, getting some minutes, varsity, getting that experience year one. Going into sophomore year, I was ready. I thought I was gonna make a crack in the rotation and try to make a run to the playoffs, and then go down, break my ankle, and I was pretty bummed out, but I knew I still had 2 years left. And then junior year, I had pneumonia, and I lost 12 pounds and a lot of muscle, and all my stamina, yeah. And I honestly thought it'd take me doctors would tell me it'd take a month to be come back to full strength. And then started running captain's practice. I'd stay out running, getting shots up, trying to get back to full strength. And for tryouts, I wasn't. I had to sit out for most of the running and stuff. And we had, I think, a week to prep for Winchester, and I worked really hard and wanted to be there for my team and try to make a big benefit against Winchester.
Now, I know that was the last year was a great year we made the tournament. We had a great year. So now you're looking forward to this year, and why don't we go over what actually happened? I know you're playing a pickup game with the guys, I think in the Wilmington gym. Mm-hmm. And do you remember what happened? And just what did you, other than how much it hurt, what went through your brain when it happened?
Yeah, so someone got a steal, and they're going for a shot, and I go for the rebound, and I came down. It was kind of a freakish accident. I came down right on my leg, and yeah, I went down, and I just knew right away the season, my season senior year was just over.
Okay, so what went through your brain, your mind? You knew your season was over. What rolled through your mind once you started coming to the realization that was going to be it?
I honestly just felt all the hard work I put in just kind of it was all gone. But I knew I still wanted to be there for the team no matter what, and just trying to help out the younger guys, and yeah.
Okay. So Nick, I'm going to you as the brother, as the family of your brother, and I know you had high hopes for him. when you heard about the injury, what initially went through your mind, and then as you thought more about it, how did it play out?
Well, I was there.
Oh, you were there.
And, you know, it was kind of like he went up to grab the rebound, and I looked away because we were just playing pickup, and it kind of sounded like a tree branch snapped. And all I heard was, no, no, no. And I look over, and he's on the ground, and I ran right over. I grabbed his hand, and I was like, hey, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Probably told him that 100 times. But, you know, it was heartbreaking because, you know, to a lot of people, he's like the point guard. He's the point guard that you see on the floor. You know what I mean? Like wearing Wilmington. I mean, he works in the recreation department. He's all over town. It was the same stuff I did when I was in high school. And, you know, it was just heartbreaking because he's not that to me. He's not just the kid you see here and there. He's the kid I see every day. You know, he's a kid that we'd be in the front yard with, getting up hundreds of shots every day. And, you know, just to have that happen, it was it was really heartbreaking.
Okay, Nick, I'm going to switch, stay with you. Heartbreaking, how did you see the injury impacting the rest of the team on that? And that's because you were there playing pickup with them.
Just like I said earlier, like when I watch the games, I don't know if it's just because he's my brother and that's the way I look at him, but he's kind of like the heartbeat to the team. You know, I remember last year, the Winchester game at home, that he was just getting back from being sick. And I think he had 23 points.
Watertown.
And Watertown.
Yeah.
Did I say Watertown?
You said Winchester.
Winchester. After the Winchester game, they played Watertown. And it was at home. And I remember, like, he was lunging. Like, he was tired, and he fought through it. You know, I never looked at him like that. I always kind of looked at him like my soft little brother, you know what I mean? That, you know, you can always pick on. But it was good to see him, like, I knew that we were going to get through it. I knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and that was probably the biggest thing, even though it was heartbreaking.
Okay. And Connor, then now you're hurt, you're recovering, and you're on the bench the whole season. Do you have aspirations to become a coach, as you said, on the bench? That's first part of the question. And second, what did you learn being on the bench from just a general aspect of learn about the game of basketball?
Honestly feel like I would consider being a coach, like learning under such a good coaching staff and learning like how to run like different offenses and stuff like that. And being like a point guard, I like learn pretty quickly and adapt to like defensive. So I think I would try to become a coach. And secondly, being on the bench, like creating such a strong bond with like all the younger kids, and you know, getting the kids going on the court is definitely like a huge plus. And yeah.
So back to being on the bench, how did you help the three seniors, actually four with Noah, that were playing, that you would play with your whole career? So you played with Noah Titterington, Roman Sennett, Ryan Gray, and Will Poyen. So on the bench, how did they react to you being hurt? And did they all circle the wagons together, and then you helped them make progress during the season?
I remember them they came to visit me when I came, like right when I came home. Just them being there was like huge for me. And like Ryan, Will, Roman, and Noah, just trying to help them out as most as I can. Like not being there with them on the court, like trying to just give them like all I know, you know. And yeah.
Okay, Nick, what was he like at home, hobbling around? I know he was in a wheelchair for a while. What was that transition period like for you guys at the house?
I know. If you know Connor personally, he's very quiet. He kind of just glides and just, you know, does his own thing. But my room's in the basement, so anytime I'd hear like click, 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 I knew he was walking around on his crutches. It was good because the whole basketball team came by probably a week after he got home and, you know, brought us food, hung out with them. And it was good just to see him kind of get his smile back because I know how upsetting it was to, you know, lose that season.
Okay. Connor, what team dinners, did you get to go to those?
Yeah.
And what was your favorite one? And what did you get out of it as a injured senior?
My favorite one was probably Roman's house. I think it was one of the first ones of the year, and we were playing this game. It's like on the TV,
Yeah.
and like you write answers, and then it was just like a very fun time, like bonding with the team, and I think it really helped out the younger guys. Like, I think coming into it, they were a little like not shy, but like kind of shy, but like helping them playing that game and kind of creating a good bond. And
Food wise, what was your
Food-wise?
favorite?
I don't really remember.
Okay, that's fine. Was there a game where you did a trivia night to see who was the least smartest guy on the team?
Yeah, we did. We did at Declan's house.
Okay, and what was the outcome? Did you didn't lose that one?
No, I didn't lose. It was Pat
Okay, Pat DeLucia was the least
Yep.
intelligent person on the block.
and Andrew.
All right.
They were like going
Andrew?
head and head. Yeah.
Andrew.
Point on.
Okay, all right. So finally, before we're going to go into the coaching and then in individual stuff, what from your vantage point of the bench, what was it like the home crowds who really started to pick up? What kind of energy were we getting from our home crowds?
I think it definitely helped. The student section was like awesome, and they're like a sixth man on the court, like giving our players who are on the court like a bunch of like chanting and trying to give them momentum to beat the other team. And yeah, I like just seeing it from the bench, like all the kids coming to watch us play is like means a lot to us.
Okay, and Nick, you are a product of the COVID year. And then you played with that group during COVID. You then coached at Wilmington for a little bit, and you've coached at other places. Have you seen the evolution of the way basketball is perceived now in town, and the size of the crowds, and what it was like playing in front of nobody versus when you experienced Wilmington the way it was this year?
I mean, in high school we weren't that good. I mean, my first year coaching, it was Tommy Mallinson senior year, and that was awesome. Like, it was constantly packed. It was great having somebody that could, go out, give you 40 a game. But the year after with Amico, we didn't really have that many people. We graduated, I think, 12. No, we graduated maybe like 8 or 9 seniors, and we were kind of rebuilding with like Tiago, Ben Marvin, Mikey Otis, Austin Harper, and after that season, it was your freshman year, right?
Yeah.
And nobody's at the games. And then when they started winning, I remember I was like, I usually sit with my mom and a couple of the other parents, and there would always be spots taken. I'd be like, I can't even sit. So I originally just figured out like I'll just go stand near the door, but that's okay. But it's great. I think Anthony and his coaching staff are like an A1 coaching staff. They're awesome because they're truly there for the kids. When Connor broke his leg, Coach Faird and Coach Moss came to the hospital and sat with them for about 2 hours, just talking with them, and it was great just to see. I was on the floor, I was sobbing, I was so upset, and the second that they walked in, his face lit right up, and having that, not just as a parent, but as a person, Coach Faird is going to do an awesome job, and I think like 5 years down, maybe 3-4 years down the line, they're going to be a state championship team yearly. So,
okay, so that's great because that helps me transition to the coaching questions. So we're going to start with you, Connor. What's something you learned over the last 2 years from Coach Faird?
Just like preparation, like the stuff he does to get like our team ready is just like it plays such a big factor in like everything. And like in the off season, like we just set up a bunch of captain's practice and stuff like that, lifting and staying. Like he just like telling us to like stay in the gym and stuff like that, and his defensive mindset, like taking charges and always being the tougher team. It's like I just learned a lot.
Okay, what was it like? Were you in the gym the day last week they had to do the 100 suicides? What was that like?
It was. I wasn't that. I didn't go to that day, but I did go to the next day. They did, I think, around like 30, but it was a pretty eventful day.
And then, as both of you know, and Nick is now a JV coach. I coach baseball and now swimming at the high school. I like to ask this question to everybody. It'll be good to get a perspective from a high school student and a high school coach. this isn't just about me. And like I fess up, I did coach you in freshman baseball, so I did have an opportunity to coach Connor. What advice would you give a person coming into a high school job? What advice would you give a high school coach? Connor first.
I'd definitely give, like, try to be as close to the kids as possible and, like, being with them through it all. And, yeah.
Okay. Nick?
Just going off what Connor said, I completely agree with him, is, connecting and know that you have, let the kids know that you have their back. This year, being the junior varsity coach, it was kind of tough because, there was games that we should have won that we didn't win, and, everybody has, other stuff going on outside of that. So I always let my kids know, when we huddle up, I always say, if you guys need anything, just reach out. They all have my phone number, and I want to be accessible to them if they need a job reference or if they need anything. I'm willing to do that.
Okay, Nick, I'll stick with you real quick. What have you learned? Something that since you've now coached for a couple of years, before you started coaching, you were a player. Now that you're coaching, what have you learned being a coach that you never would have thought of as a player?
Preparation, 100% preparation. I didn't realize how much film these coaches watch, especially for basketball. Another thing that I've learned with Masconomet this year is Coach Jacob Morales does a phenomenal job at truly caring about his players, getting them merchandise, getting them to rep the school and represent where they're from. And I think the biggest thing is, just community outreach. Coach Verity's done a great job having them wear the Wilmington, show up to youth events, show up to travel games, because it gets kids excited, and I feel like it makes the transition easier from middle school to high school.
Okay, talking about transition easier, that made my transition to the next question. Nick is on a roll today, Connor. Connor, you first. What if a fifth grade basketball player came up to you? What would you tell them about playing Wilmington basketball, and what advice would you give them?
I think playing Wilmington basketball, for me, it was my entire thing. Growing up, I always wanted to be on the high school team, and I think they should do the same. Repping your town and such a strong community is a really important thing to me. And what was the other one?
What advice would you give them?
Create a strong bond with the people around you and coaches, and I would just never give up,
I like that answer, especially from you. A good answer. Nick, I'm going to change it up a little bit. What would you tell the parent, now that you're a coach, what would you tell a parent of the fourth or fifth grader playing travel or rec basketball about playing Wilmington basketball and advice you'd give them?
I'd say right now they're in a really good spot. This is going to be the next 4 to 10 years. It's going to be the goal. It's going to be really good for Wilmington basketball, because, as I said earlier, if you have a coach that goes out of their way, not just to be a good coach, but just to be a good person, just being trustworthy, I think that's truly vital.
Okay. Now we come to the good part of the program. We'll get to know a little bit more about these two. Connor's going to go first. I do fess up. Nick has done this before. That's 5 years now since I had Nick on the show. And so I do have some clips of that if I want to play some. So we're going to do Connor first. So Nick's going to get to hear all the questions. So are you ready to be on the hot seat, Connor?
I'm ready.
All right. First question. Former or present teammate you learned the most from?
Probably Tiago, because he was the point guard. I practiced behind him. I'd always have to guard him, and just learning from him.
Okay, what's 1 or 2 words you would say to about your 4 seniors that are graduating with you? Roman, Noah, Will, and Ryan. What would you say to them right now about having played with them?
It was honestly a very good memory, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay, so favorite moments of your career and favorite moments in high school. So everywhere, all the way down to your little hit and dunking on your brother to now.
Just playing basketball in the driveway on 8-foot nets, with the little ball. It was awesome, and hitting a game winner in triple OT on Super Bowl Sunday against Chelmsford in 4th grade. Another core memory. And in high school, I'd say definitely last year, clinching the state tournament against Stoneham, being 10-5. Felt like we were at the top of the world, and yeah.
Okay. Why do you play basketball?
Just growing up, my brother like kind of influenced it on me, and I just fell in love with the game.
Okay. What's something you learned playing basketball, or you've learned going through the trauma you've gone through this year that you can apply to life or classroom?
Like, everything happens for a reason. Just to, like, be strong, and yeah.
Okay. What number do you wear and why?
I wore 10, but I always loved the number 0 because Russell Westbrook, he's my favorite player growing up. And I wore 10 just because it had a 0 in it. And I kind of thought it was the closest to 0 I could get.
Okay, what do you like most about playing basketball?
I kind of just like just putting the ball in the hoop, and putting on a show for the community, the crowd, and I just think it's a beautiful game.
Okay, what do you like? What's it feel like to play? We talked about this a little earlier. What's it like to feel like to play for your hometown, have Wilmington on your chest?
I think it's like everything to me, and just putting on a show for such a good community. Like, they've always been there for me, and I try to give back to the travel basketball, helping like with the rec, and it just means a lot to me.
Okay, anybody influencers or coaches you want to credit?
Definitely Anthony Farady's like been with me through these past like just 2 years, and Coach Moss, he's been my neighbor growing up and helping me with whatever I need help with.
Not to put him on the spot, but what do you have to say about your brother and how he's been with you the whole time?
Growing up, he's always been there, like pushing me through, telling me to go outside if I was like on my tablet for too long. Go outside, like running, just playing one-on-one, going to Yentl, playing pickup. Like, he's always been there and giving me rides everywhere. It's just like he's been doing everything for me.
Okay, good words. Who's your favorite NBA player?
Russell Westbrook.
Why?
I don't know. I just picked him. I always like his dunks, and I try to like model some of my game after him, like being like kind of like a slasher. And yeah.
Okay. What are you going to miss the most about high school basketball?
Just like growing with the kids on the team and getting to play in front of like my high school and the community I've grown up in.
Good. And what's the future hold for Connor Sullivan?
Not too sure yet. Want to study business, like sports management, and
is there any basketball in your future?
probably not.
Why not? Okay. Okay, guess who's next? Nick Sullivan gets on the hot seat, second time in 5 years.
I know.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun to have. So, Nick, I'm going to throw the camera right on you, and are you ready to go?
Ready.
Okay. Former or present teammate, not present, but somebody teammate or coach who influenced you along the way.
I'll stick with the same answer I gave before. Jay Kelly's been awesome. It was kind of like a circling moment. Last year I got the chance to coach at Malden Catholic, and Jay was a police officer in Malden. So I got to see him at a couple of games, and it was really good just to see somebody that coached me, and now that I'm trying to make the same impact that he did on me.
So now that you're alumni, what have you done since you graduated? College, what do you do now?
I'm a senior at Merrimack College studying sport management. I got to coach 2 years of basketball at Wilmington. I was 3 years, actually. I was an assistant, and then I was the freshman coach for 1 year. I got to coach JV lacrosse, as well as I also got to coach football here, and I've given back a lot. So,
is coaching in your future?
You know, I think I still want it to be, but I'm not afraid of moving away from it and then coming back to it.
Okay. Favorite basketball moments of all time?
All time playing in the front yard with my brother. I know he had a couple friends growing up, so it was always fun playing with the smaller ball on the 8-foot rims, just dunking on all his friends with my friends.
Okay, the dunking comes back to a famous line that you gave me in the last time we met. Have you really dunked on a 10-foot rim with a real ball?
Yeah, I have.
You have?
Yep.
Do we have video?
No.
Okay.
Oh, there's no video.
So
Sorry.
I might just insert that answer. And that was the first time I ever met Nick was when we did those interviews, and his personality just shined right through, and I can see that. What's your favorite moment of your brother's career?
I'd probably say the same thing. Just playing in the front yard. I know I have a vivid memory of we had like a purple basketball hoop that was gifted to us, and I remember he must have been like 2 or 3 years old, and he shot the ball like diaper shot, and he made it, and he stayed up there for probably like an hour and a half and just kept shooting and just kept making it. And I kind of realized at a point that I'm never going to make the NBA. It's just being honest. I'm just being honest. Even though I could dunk on a 10-foot rim, but I kind of wanted to be there for him, and see him be able to grow. Good. And I was lucky enough to do that the past 4 years.
Okay, what have you learned from basketball over the course of years that you can apply to your life?
That everything that comes easy doesn't stay.
Interesting. And how has basketball benefit you? How's your relationship with your brother and basketball benefit you with other aspects of your life, like moving forward?
I was lucky enough to, coach him in summer league, fall league, and basketball is something that we can always, rely on. We always make a March Madness bracket together. We go to Celtics games. We've gone to BC games, Merrimack games together, and it's just something that we can bond over, which we're lucky to have.
What number did you wear and why?
Senior year, I wore 44. It was one of the jerseys I had. I was lucky enough to also be my address number.
Okay.
So.
And what do you like most when you play basketball? What do you like most about playing basketball?
What do I like most about playing basketball? Stopping the other person from what they want to do.
Okay. And you've played for your hometown years ago. Mm-hmm. I know during COVID. What was it like playing for Wilmington, being a Wilmington guy?
It was good because, as Connor said, like the sense of community. When like the young kids go to these basketball games, they think it's like an NBA level game, and just having a kid go out of their way and like and saying what up and saying, hey, like what's up, like you better keep practicing, like you can play up to this level, gets the kids excited, and it's something that's always going to constantly grow.
Okay. Other than your brother, who has influenced you in the basketball and sports realm, and who coaches that you want to credit that you've had along the way besides Jay? You always said Jay.
Jacob Morales, who I'm coaching with now, he's awesome. He's been so good to me, and just helping me grow and helping me like work with my confidence. Dennis Ingram has been nothing but phenomenal to me. Now he's in the athletic director role, but he's been phenomenal. John Amico was great for the 2 seasons we had together. And he's someone I can always rely on. And John Walsh, the coach at Walden Catholic with Brian Dunn and Mark Garrity there. They're phenomenal.
Who's your favorite current NBA player?
Current?
Current, and who's your favorite NBA player overall?
Current, I would say Zach LaVine. All time, Shaquille O'Neal.
Because you play like Shaquille?
Yes.
What are you going to miss the most about your brother playing basketball?
Just seeing him succeed. Seeing him succeed. And seeing people get excited about him, and he deserves his flowers, and this year he wasn't able to get them, which is upsetting. But
what's it like being the older brother to just Connor in general?
I take pride in being like the best brother I could possibly be. Like some stuff hasn't gone our way in life, and like I want to be a good male role model for him, and go out of my way to not just be a good person, but represent him as well as our family in a positive way.
And I know that you're going to graduate from Merrimack, and we don't have to spill any secrets. What's the future hold for Nick Sullivan?
Hopefully work in sports, hopefully make an impact on something bigger than myself. That's the goal.
Okay. These guys are great. I love the bond that the brothers have. I think you're like 4 or 5 years older than he is.
Yeah.
I got a brother 4 years younger, and that bond is always there. And it's really great when I see this type of bond between family members, especially all the trauma technically that Connor has gone through in his life. So I really appreciate what you guys come in here do. But we do have one more thing to do. We get our shout out. So Connor, you're going to get a shout out right into that camera. And my good friend Nick, you get a shout out right into this camera. Please don't forget anybody. If you do, I don't want to really have to circle back, but everybody always forgets somebody every once in a while. So Connor, you are first. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Shout out my mom. Shout out my dog. Shout out Coach Faraday. Shout out Coach Moss. Shout out Wilmington Travel Basketball. And shout out LeBron James.
Okay, and Nick?
Shout out my mom. Shout out my dog Ozzy. Shout out my man Jim Boyle right here, as well as Connor Sullivan. Shout out Church Street Barbers.
All right. So like I said, the Sullivan brothers, as we can see, I've got Connor and Nick. Just, to me, a great representation of what family is. And I know that Connor's been through a lot. He's a great kid. And I know that Nick is kind of silly sometimes, but I really appreciate the bond and to see that. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people are proud of both of you guys. So for Wildcat Sports Update, I'm your host, Jim Boyle, and we'll see you on down the road.